Hey guys, welcome to our continued reviews of The Last of Us on HBO. This one for episode 2, and I am happy to report, woohoo, we ramp way up. We're getting right up into the clickers and the infection, and that's what I thought, right? They were slowly building it. This one gives you all the goods. So another amazing quality episode. But before we jump into it, I have a few things I want to go back into the previous episode to. And I rewatched the first episode now 3 times total. And I am raising my rating from a 9 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. There's not anything in there that I can point to that would have lost that point. And, as we continue to watch the show, our scores will evolve on individual episodes because you kind of need, more context, more pieces there. And I think it was one of the most perfect openings to a video game adaptation or even just a series in general. It was compelling. It was emotional. It gave us, teases to what's coming. It was fantastic. So 10 out of 10 on episode 1. I'm making the change. You guys have any changes on yours?
No, I didn't rewatch the first one. I may go back and later on, but I'm
really, really good. Every friend that I've been talking to is, have you seen HBO? I play games. So that's good to see. And then let's talk about some other things. So the credit sequence, we never got to talk about that. It's beautiful. I like the credit sequence. It's the fungus spreading. I always want to give a little lip service to some of these things because, HBO likes to, have creative credit sequences, Game of Thrones and stuff like that. So I thought it's well done. It's really accentuated by the song. The song is amazing. And they got the original composer to come back, Carlos, who is doing an amazing job. The guitar, the soundtrack is just perfect. So perfectly executed intro, changing my rating to a 10 out of 10 upon second watch. And in many ways, better than the video game intro and expanding on it and just more epic. So the one thing I still don't understand is why he's like, it's his birthday, but he's having to do everything, right? He's like, I'll bring back a cake, I promise. It's like,
she doesn't have a car.
But she needs to bring you the cake, and she's the one going out.
She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a car.
Okay,
she's got money. She goes downtown. She steals from him.
She steals his own money to buy him.
Yeah,
a
she
cake.
could have bought a cake when she went to downtown. There's cake shops down there. You've been there.
All right, so let's jump into episode 2 now. So it starts in Indonesia. I liked this interest. I was like, but at first I was like, did I turn on the wrong?
I was going to remember the scene.
Right. There's a small little hint at that because remember in the radio in the first episode they said, stuff is happening in Jakarta and stuff like that. So this one we actually get to see, Indonesia. We see a dead woman, full-blown nudity, dead woman. Didn't expect it. And even more gross because this, what is the scientist's name that study this?
Terrible
Mycologists,
names.
Something like that. Yeah. She is there to research and see what the hell is happening, and she cuts her fucking leg. Oh, this is gross. You see the fungus in her body from the cut just under the surface. It's so creepy. And then she takes the fungus from the mouth, and it's like fucking moving, and it's like, oh. So it's just
like
that
we have a
perfect creepiness. And yeah, so we learned some backstory on the outbreak, and this is interesting because we don't really get a lot of this in the video game. So again, expanding upon the lore. Where did this start, Joe? Where was she talking? Alex, Joe, one of you. Starts at a grain factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you don't know anything about the fungus, that is perfect conditions for that kind of stuff to proliferate there. So this is all new stuff, kind of separate from the games, because as you know, the games, they do the spores and you constantly have to have the masks on. But if you were wearing the gas mask the whole time, you wouldn't get to see Pedro Pascal and the beautiful performances. So this is one change I actually agree with for the video games. It is a bummer to lose the spores, but it really doesn't make sense, because if it's airborne, then it's over, right? It's a video game mechanic that you could see the spores in hanging in one spot, and you just avoid that spot or wear a gas mask. But in real life, that's too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So here, what it is, and what they expand on, is that it's actually they did some more research on it, and I have the name of it, and it's somewhere in my notes. But it's these strands of fungus, right? And they kind of change it up from the video games, where it's like they're all connected, and like you could touch one fucking fungus thing, and then a few miles later, so as long as it's connected, it knows that you're over here, and then it'll launch all its fucking flickers and shit at you. Launch all fighters. Yeah, it is dangerous. So that creates this new dimension to the Outbreak that we don't really have in the video game. We have parts of it, but I liked it. So just great opening to giving us context to the stuff. So and then so she's fucking traumatized, because he's like, all right, so let's make the vaccine, let's make a medicine. And she's like, no, there's no medicine, just bomb everybody. And you can tell it fucking visually upsets her, because she's basically saying kill
Yeah, because she's like, oh, who else is missing? There's 14 people missing. We're like, we're
over.
fucked. Yeah. We are fucked.
Yeah, I would like a little more explanation why there's no, because at the beginning of episode 1, they kind of did this.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning of episode 2, they kind of did this. They just say there is none. Or there will never be, or something like that. I'm like, explain that more. Are you saying because of the nature of fungus, there can never be a vaccine? Because that doesn't line up with what we know from the video games, where it's like everybody's looking for the vaccine, and it's like, how do we? But if there was none, and if it was already predetermined because of the nature of the virus or infection, it doesn't matter. Tell me why. Tell me, this particular strain, this and that. There's nothing that we as humans can develop to combat it. But that can't be true, because then we don't have the video game. So anyways, and then we jump into present day, where they're out in the open. And what happens here? She's chained up or something?
No, she just took a nap. She's waking up, and they're just kind of cautious with her. She's like, you didn't tell us you were a bitch. Like, well,
yeah,
they were running tests on me and this and that. So they're still kind of worried about her.
Yeah, she didn't want to reveal her secret for, some reason. She's like, don't tell anyone. And they're like, I will
For
shoot.
some reason, this is a fucking kill.
Yeah.
You immediately shot on sight.
Yeah, but they're like, well, we're going to kill you or abandon you, like, if you're not important to us. And it's just like, well,
they are ruthless.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They don't care. I mean, he dumps kids every day in the fucking fire. Yeah. So, I mean, he doesn't really care. But I think it's really Tess that, is kind of somewhat interested in the fact that Ellie has not succumbed to it. And this is Tess's character trait in the video games too. She's looking for a little bit of redemption. Her life, she's been done some fucked up things, and she's like, and as soon as she figures out that Ellie is special in this way, she latches onto that and uses it as a way to try to redeem herself for the greater good. And I just got to say right here, when they're inside this building and they're having this conversation, the sets,
yes,
they look just like the video game. And it's like, man, I would have loved to have visited that set, because it is literally the video game. Just absolutely perfectly done, 1-to-1. And they do that for a lot of scenes too. Like when Ellie and Joel are looking off into the distance in the city, it's like absolutely perfect. The wood when they're traversing across the rooftops, we've played that in the video game, just done perfectly. So anyways, Joel and Tess decide to carry out the mission anyway. Okay, and so they move on, but Joel's like, but if she so much as twitches, this is one of the jokes. And he's like, stop it. Yeah, it was,
It's like,
it
do
was
you want
funny.
to get shot?
I thought it was funny, but my ass would have been like, "Bah, bah, bah." If this shit is serious, man, I want to shut that bitch.
Yeah,
right
but
there.
she would have been totally fine. No one in this episode can shoot anything. I mean, he's shooting like this the whole time. It's like, how are you missing? You've been alive for 20 years in this
Panic
world,
mode.
and you're just like,
Yeah, and so she mocks him by twitching, and then she's like, "Can I have a gun?" So you got that Ellie. You know, she is nailing, in my opinion, Ellie's personality. She may not have the look of Ellie, but she definitely has the personality of Ellie. And they're like, hell no.
Yeah, I didn't get Ellie that much from her in the first episode because it's mostly about Joel in the first episode,
Yeah.
and so you didn't have enough time. This is the episode where it's like she is Ellie, like this is
Starting-
she's
okay.
she's got the temperament and like the sense of humor and just she fits the role.
And the small talk is really good here as they are kind of exploring the city. Absolute beautiful CGI, seamless integration. I want to be in this world, and you don't want to
No.
be in this world, right? Just because
I don't
it's so
know.
cool. And anyways, they're talking about they've heard about these creatures, and then they hear sounds in the distance. I think they kind of taking shots, at the video game. They reference how the video game is done spores. It's like, and they talk about that. So they kind of hint that they know that they've changed it from the video game. They're like, what is this? Are they super infected and they're spread by spores? And they're like, no. So that kind of confirms. In this one, it's slightly different. And then there was like, are there just a bunch of roaming people all around I expect them to be everywhere. And it's like, a little dig at, Walking Dead, because it's like, no, it's even worse than that. There's like fucking underground layers and they pop up from underground and they're all connected. And then they even talk about, are they split-faced ones? And then Joel gets quiet. And so that's when you know that, okay, maybe there's split-faced ones that are really mean or something. Though I do think that they should have, just of how open and honest they've been with her kind of the whole time, they should have said yes. They should have explained to her a little bit more
got
about
time.
what they're going to deal with. And I hate that excuse that we ain't got time, or I'm going to keep it from you. No. This is a life or death survival situation. You need to know everything, and I'm going to explain everything. But they didn't do that for drama's sake, so that they can have more impact with the reveal of the clickers and the split-faced ones. So anyway, they find a hotel, and Ellie's just being a kid. Joel's like, you're a weird kid, and she's like, you're a weird kid. It's like, yep, that's what kids do. I still do that. So, and she's just, she's trying to be helpful the whole episode. There's a small little, I can crawl through there. I'm small. Or, give me a gun. Or, I'll do this. And they're like, no, stop it. And they don't allow her to help because that's, again, going to be part of her arc. They don't trust her. They're protecting her. She's not a member of the group. She's what they're escorting. And then that will eventually change.
Yeah.
We get good individual scenes here with Ellie and Joel, the beginning of their relationship. He's like, nice knife. Where'd you learn to do that? She's all flipping the knife and stuff, and she's like, the circus. She's a little asshole, funny sarcastic asshole. I like the quibs and the jokes in here. She asks, well, how long do these? That's a great question too. I was like, how long do these fucking people last? These zombies, when you're infected, how long do you last? And he's like, a month or two. And I was like, oh well, infection's over. We'll be fine. And some live 20 years. There's been
Like,
ones
shit.
from the original outbreak, and it's like, yeah. And there is a hierarchy in the video games. There's stage, and I think that hierarchy is here in the show too. You got your step 1 runners, okay? Those are your zombies, and and then step 2 stalkers. You're starting to get more of a change, and then you have stage 3, which are the clickers, which debuted in this episode, and then we still have yet to see stage 4, the bloaters. That's a big boy. From the video games. And then there's variations on those that we've seen in part 2, but I don't know if they're going to dip into those yet. I think there was a promo where you kind of saw maybe a bloater, but that shit is definitely right around the corner, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle all the different variations. So yeah, what happens next?
After they get to the hotel, they realize they can't go their normal means because there's so many infected in the streets, and so they've got to go through the museum.
Oh yeah, we
That's what
see a
they're running.
scene of her seeing all the infected, and they're kind of laying on the ground. They're like writhing on the ground, and it seems like they're affected by sun because the sunlight hits them, and then they kind of like react a little bit, and that's when we kind of learn that these can be connected. It's like an underground system, and that actually has again more basis in reality with real fungus because the largest I think organism on Earth is actually a fungus organism that's like fucking I don't know what it is 40 square miles or something like that. It is just a massive bed of fungi. He's a fungi. Anyways, so then they find a dead guy, and at this point Joe's like, all right, no talk. We're going silent. We're not being quiet. We're going silent. And I'm like, yes, because and then we get
The reveal.
the stealth section from the,
Oh, okay,
the video game, right? And the horror, the tension ramps up. The first time you hear the clicker sound, it's like, oh fuck, here we go. We're getting the clicker scene. What do you guys think of the clickers?
I liked it. I think they did a great job with these.
Oh yeah, this was apparently they said one of the first things they tried to get right before the show.
Yeah, they looked. It looked really good. I mean, it was some of the gunplay was a little silly. But I think the shooting in this scene was a little silly, but I really liked the scene. The atmosphere
How was the shooting silly?
Like they can't hit anything. He's a 20-year veteran of killing these things, and he doesn't
it
look
would've
like
been
he's
nice.
ever fired a gun before.
I thought it was just ineffective, and it would have been nice to show that at this point they've kind of built up an outer layer, and they're very resistant. So maybe have him be doing good hits, pop, 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 and then it's just still coming.
He wasn't used to the PlayStation controller. He was
Right.
an Xbox guy, and so he couldn't figure out how to aim or something.
That's what happens. Yeah, it would have been a little more effective if it's like, no, these things are armored, it was a combination of CGI. In the distance, the movement was very. If that's an actor, I know they did have actors and they did have movement, so it's a combination of practical and CGI. Perfect. It needed to be when it needed to be practical, it was practical. When it needed to be CGI, it was CGI, and it was fantastic. Though I do think in one scene, kind of in the dark, it looked a little too CGI-ish, but it was. No, I'm taking that back. It was very well done. Anyways, in a divergence from the video game, after this massive encounter, tense encounter, scary encounter, Ellie gets bitten again. She doesn't actually get bitten in the video games the second time, unless you die. And I was wondering that as these clickers were coming, I was like, how are they going to show how brutal and dangerous if they catch you would be? You know what I mean? Because when they catch them several times, but they kind of just fight them off. It's like, no, those motherfuckers are super strong in the game, and you're fucking dead. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Maybe they should have had some random asshole walking around. We'll probably get that in the future.
They
too.
mentioned it here. It's like being immune doesn't make you immune from being ripped in half by these things. And it's like
I want to see
I
motherfucker get
do.
ripped up before, so you have that tension in the scene. Like, I don't want to be like that guy who got. Yeah. They showed a dead guy already, but it wasn't. Anyways, yeah. So Tess, here's the crazy thing. I already knew this was coming because me and Joe play the games. I think Alex played too. So we know that Tess gets bitten, but it's still. Surprised me. It still has like, oh shit.
Oh,
okay.
doing it now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So it was good, and they're trying to get to where they need to get before dark. They meet up, and as we know from the video games, shit already went down. Though in the video games it is different. So the military is actually there and had killed a lot of the Fireflies, and we're still scouting the area. Here it is the infected that did it. And that makes actually more sense. I like the change. It's a better change. And so then, Tess shows that she's been infected as they're at the meetup place and everybody's fucking dead. And he's like, show me. And it's crazy, man, because the infected wake up and they go after them, and Joel is like closes the door, and they show this
Like,
little
we
CGI
are
in the background. There's tons coming, and I'm like, oh shit, what is this, World War Z? What are we doing here? That's a lot of fucking. How is Joel with one machine gun gonna take them all out? I'm like, please don't do this. But no, they did it correctly, which she dumps over all the fuel, and she's like, look, I'm gone, so I'm gonna buy y'all some time. The heroic kind of sacrifice death, and she basically guilts Joel, who still doesn't really want to do it. He's like, "That's it, we're done," to save and protect Ellie. Because she's special, and that's her redemption. So if Joel cares at all about Tess, then he is going to have to care for Ellie, and that's how that relationship begins. So she essentially save who you can save. The good lines from the video games and the show, and yeah. So then they do a creative thing here, which I thought was interesting. It's different from the games. I know it was awkward at first, but when you learn more about it in the after show, I was like, oh, that's a cool choice. So you get the fungus kiss. I was like, ugh, creepy. I was like, number one, why are you kissing? Why the fucking zombies? Zombies don't come and kiss you, but they do if they're trying to transfer the fungus. And the way in this universe that the infection is spread is through those fungus strands, and there's a name for it, and I'll find it. Mycelium. Boom, mycelium. So this mycelium is the catalyst and the activator for turning into the clicker. So you have to spread through mycelium, through either saliva, bites, or the mycelium themselves. So he's just trying to let me give you. It's Nurgle, Alex. We got the shirt here. You can buy our merch, Rogues Apparel, but Nurgle wants to share all of the grossness with you, and this clicker wanted to share the grossness, or infected wanted to share the grossness with her, or runner, technical term. So yeah, and then I did, and it's like, even though I kind of knows what happens, I'm like, did they change it? Does she not? Because they're already in there, and she cannot get the fucking thing going,
like,
and then she's being,
do?
and I'm like, oh fuck, well, I guess we just gotta run, and there's no explosion, but there is an explosion. She manages to stop a few of them, and allowing them to escape. So yeah, really cool. Really cool. I did notice that the clickers, though, in the game, they're like full body clickers with like infection on their legs, and their clothes have mostly fallen off. These ones, you could tell that they were kind of still human on it. So maybe they didn't want to go too much makeup, or maybe it was budget, or maybe they're going to try to show progression over time. So I was forgiving it, for not, but. The fact that it was so accurate up here, everything from shoulder up, it was like absolutely perfect. But if you want to nitpick, then you'll see that they're a little more human-like in the rest of their appendages than maybe in some of the later stage video games. But could have just been an early version of them. So, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
And then the episode ends. So what do you guys think about the change from spores to mycelium?
So far, I'm not complaining. They're making it work. They still have good writing on it. So if it continues this way, I'm up for the change.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. They want to get to have it be more believable, but the issue is the ground being this early warning system is just as unbelievable, and can be, if you're looking to poke holes or suck people out, either one of those things can do it. Spores can do it because it's like just breathing the air would make you infected. The other thing is if the entire city is covered with it, and we saw that hundreds of yards away from the State House, simply stepping on something.
That's gonna make it even more overpowered.
Or OP later on. So it's just like you're trading one unbelievable kind of crazy thing for another one, and it's just like I don't know which is which yet because it's too
one
early.
OP ability for another.
Yeah,
OP
so it's like I
ability.
don't know if I don't care about the changes. I'm not lowering my score at all for it. It's like that's a weird thing to change.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's the mechanics of it. It's like, okay, we'll have an overpowered ability, but one overpowered ability requires us to wear masks the whole time because it's obviously airborne, and people are going to be like, well, you're right next to it, so you're going to...
You just keep it exactly the way it is in the video game.
No, because the video game, there's artistic... It's game mechanic
Yeah.
license where you're like, okay, I get it.
It's only
but
that contain one
your
spot.
mass audiences who don't play the game are gonna be like, okay, well, what is this? So I like. So one OP ability doesn't require that. It's just don't touch or don't make too much noise, which still fits in perfectly.
You
And
just
then
got to make
said
sure if it's rotten like
it's-
he did.
and it's not
Don't step on the
unrealistic.
ground.
I like the fact that because this whole thing was based on, the cordyceps and the ants getting infected and shit, they did their research on it. It's like, okay, if we're going to change it, let's do a due diligence and find something in the real world. So the Wood Wide Web, there is actual examples of that where, the organism can, feel what you're doing, even though the thing is miles long. So, and hopefully they're patches, right? Because Alex, right, if the whole fucking thing is connected, then you do one, and then you have, I don't know, 577,000 runners on you instantly.
Well, the
so there
second
has to be patches.
Yeah, and then I like the Star Trek theory of let's not really explain the thing too well because it's not as important as everything else around. And the more you explain, the more you have to explain and explain and explain.
Yeah.
And then it's like you didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
You could have just said that's the big thing that makes the spores come out, or this is how this works, and then you don't.
I hope they don't do any more than this.
This is it. This is all I want.
This is it.
There's a big danger trying to over-explain and make things too realistic because nothing about the situation is
We've
realistic
gotten
at all.
two
And I'm fine with
intros
sci-fi.
now, episode 1 and episode 2, both
Yeah.
trying to explain it. I don't want episode 3 to start and then doing even more explaining. No more. That's enough explanation. Maybe at the end of season 1 or maybe into season 2 if you want to talk a little bit more about origins of it. Origins of it is fine because then you could tie that into a vaccine and the storyline of Ellie and everything. But yeah, the mechanics of it, we're good. We're good on it. Anyways, yeah, they did just such a really good job. So this is essentially the first few levels of the video game, and in my opinion, done better.
With less deaths.
Fucking the Robert stuff was done better. The Tess stuff, the change from the military into the infected attacking them, done better. The fucking, and then they kept the best lines. It's like, oh, our luck had to run out sooner or later, or, oh shit, she's infected. Like literally word for word from the video games. Just better. So, yeah. I'm curious if they're getting all these lines from the video game in the next episode, are we going to be like, ew, why are all these stuck together? She's got that dirty magazine. So we'll see if that
You gotta
happens.
keep that.
Yeah,
little
because
gem.
there's
Yeah,
a
you have
great
to.
line. You have to keep that. So let's go with final verdicts.
I really like this one. This was a great episode. They did a great job with the atmosphere. It really looked like the game. The environment was great, and Bella is actually more becoming Ellie to me. Like she's like ringing the bell at the hotel. It's like ding ding, like
For
doing
sure.
stuff like that, and just the clickers look great.
Mm-hmm.
Great acting,
Perfect.
good action.
Better than the game in some spots.
I'm gonna give it a 10. I didn't find anything. I was just like,
Yes,
I
John!
enjoyed everything about it. It was a good intro and everything. Just a little pandemic. But
Yes,
great.
sir.
Yeah.
Alex.
I like the intro. I think the adding some context is kind of interesting. I think we're actually going to get more of it. I think you need to explain how it gets off, the islands to like the mainland. So I think we're going to get one more. The tension, the atmosphere, set design, all this stuff's really good. I think we were missing a scene. I think it felt kind of abrupt. Like I knew it was coming. I've played the game and I've sit next to someone playing the game, so I've gone through this twice. It like Tess's death. I didn't have the emotional impact I wanted it to. I felt like I needed something else because I know that she wants to do the redemption thing because they've been pieces of shit. I needed to have this. I think I wanted a scene of her just kind of explaining that. Like we got some of that from the video game, but I'm wondering if other people were like, "Oh, she just died and that's it." It's like, no, I actually felt like more when I was playing the video game. So that was kind of awkward. I don't know. I mean, I don't care that much about the kiss. I know people are upset about it. I think it's awkward. I don't
People are
think.
upset about it?
Yeah.
Oh, they just need to learn about the way the infected are transferred.
Yeah, even that. Like
Mycelium.
I saw the explanation. It's like you didn't need to do it. Like I think her getting ripped apart is significantly would have been better than a zombie kissing her in the mouth, or like her being attacked or whatever. But I think it's fine.
But they want to spread the infection. That's why they're not good. Those runners are spreading the infection. The clickers are like, no, you're fucking dead. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, she's infected, though. I mean,
Yeah, and that's the fucking good part where she's like, I'm going to get infected, but I'm not going to live as an infected, and I'm going to take a lot of you bastards with me. Boom.
Yeah. Yo, I get the self-sacrifice thing. I just, like, why? Just have him bite her. It's a zombie movie. It's a zombie game. Like, have him bite her. But, yeah, I don't have a lot of faults with this one. So it's probably a 10. It's really good. I mean,
yay. Don't do it. And I was gonna say, it's like I'm fucking tired of zombies, so I want and obviously this is zombies, just straight up zombies. I don't want it to be exactly like zombies. I want something unique, and transferring the fucking mycelium is a-okay with me.
Yeah, but zombies like fisting you is unique. It doesn't mean it's good. Like unique is not good. It doesn't not. They do not mean.
This is unique and good. So like they don't have to transfer via mouth. Maybe you have an open wound. Maybe they'll show later on if you have an open wound, and then they let. Here's the thing, Alex. They're not gonna bite. Clickers will bite you, and I'm sure you're gonna get plenty of bites. But the point of that fungus and the way it lives is it lives through the body, so it needs to spread the infection. So I think stage 1 runners' purpose is to spread the infection. Stage 2, stage 3.
You watch episode 1 3 times though. Like they bite each other.
They bite each other to spread the mycelium.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're creating open wounds, and she's kind of feasting, and then after they rip the flesh or whatever to put it inside the body. That's what I'm saying. I would love to see more where it's like, here's open wounds, and it's like, it's like fucking maggots. You're dropping maggots inside my body, and it's scary, So push that body horror. I don't know how much they're gonna push it on HBO. HBO can push it, so I'm hoping for that. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. We've got, of course, from the video game, Henry and Sam. Looking forward to seeing whether that's going to carry weight and emotion. That, I think, could be maybe their potential for a first misstep. They're doing Bill, who is a survivalist. They're expanding on his story. They're actually putting stuff in on Bill's story that they cut out of the video game. They're putting back in because they need to fill time, or not really fill time, but expand on it for the format and medium. So that could be another potential, area for loss of focus or whatever. I keep looking for them to fuck up, and it shouldn't really be about it. It's, are you telling the story effectively? And so far, through the first 2 episodes, it is nailing it. Not only is it nailing it, I think it's exceeding it and making it better in many parts than the video game. And so that's me, 10 out of 10. So episode 1, 10 out of 10. Episode 2, 10 out of 10. For me, this has been an excellent execution from HBO and a video game, and this will be used, if it continues to go this way, as a really great example of how to do video game adaptations. So tell us what you think in the comments down below, and we're looking forward to episode 3. I think there is, how many episodes was there?
You said 8?
8 or 9?
That doesn't feel long enough.
Yeah, I want more, because if all we're getting, Joe, look it up. If all we're getting is 8 or 9, and then that's the first season, and then in my opinion, then it's over. It's season 1. It's like The Last of Us. We're only gonna get 1 season of The Last of Us, and then it's over. Oh. Yeah. Because as soon as I'm just hoping that HBO is like, look, Neil, this is a hit. We like to make money. Do you think you could change things a little bit, or at least drag it out a little bit, which
once again
is going to dilute the formula? Yeah. But honestly, that Last of Us 2 is going to lower the score if they
do like
go.
Last of Us 1.5, what he did before that, right?
Something like that. Well, that's actually
stuff.
Left Behind DLC.
Yeah.
Now, actually, Joe, that was a hope, and then immediately taken away. They're already said they're going to incorporate the Left Behind DLC into season 1. It's episode 8 is when that's basically the Left Behind DLC is episode 8.
Why are we? I feel like we're rushing through. And
I don't feel like we're rushing through.
You honestly feel like you got enough time with Tess that her death meant something, that like you
That I think you're right on. If I had one complaint, I agree.
Look, that's what I'm worried.
We could have got a little bit more there. I actually felt it had impact. You wanted it to have more impact.
You had context from a different source
Yes.
that is not
Yes.
it's not fair. If like our experience with Tess, like me twice over in the game.
Yeah.
Is like, look, I understand that she absolutely wants redemption. Like, if you're watching the show and just watching the show, you're kind of it's mentioned to you, like you understand that, but it's like there are really great scenes that I know I want to see Pedro just because he's so good
So
at
I
this.
could understand a 9 in that case for sure.
Yeah,
But yeah. Yeah.
Give me 12 episodes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I would. Fuck it. Let's do 12 episodes. Fuck it. Let's do 18 because I don't want to see season 2. Here's the thing. I don't want to get to season 2. Honestly, The Last of Us, guys, is a complete story. I know they leave it open-ended at the end of it, right? And it's just what comes after
Revenge
is just yeah, but it's poorly executed revenge, and
It's misery porn.
It's injected in, and then these like star child. My Mass Effect indoctrination theory, just like people just injecting in like this character, and we're gonna do all of these things, and then we're gonna change the entire personality of Joel, and he's one way, and then the next time he's a completely different way. And I understand character growth, but it's gonna get crazy in season 2, and that keeps hanging over me. But we just have to.
Take it one day at a time.
Take it one episode at a time and see how well they execute the adaptation of season 1, which so far is heading for one of the greatest ones of all time. So, anyways, tell us what you think, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.